Do you like the new camera? So, Daredevil Born Again, Season 1, Episode 3, sees Wilson Fisk, having relational troubles with his wife. They're going through some stuff, and meanwhile, in his job as mayor, he's not very fond of the idea of vigilantes going around New York City, establishing the law in their own hands. Keep that in mind for later. Meanwhile, Matthew Murdock is doing his daytime job as a lawyer as he defends Hector! Sorry, wrong movie. Hector, who is the White Tiger Vigilante. Through the court case, Matthew Murdock is trying to get Hector home to his home turf after he has pushed a man in front of a train. The odds seem very much against them until Matthew Murdock pulls out the White Tiger mask, asking if Hector is the White Tiger. Now, at first, and certainly a lot of viewers would perceive this as well, I know myself and others did, people would perceive that the case is not going well for Matthew Murdock, and him pulling out the White Tiger mask would have only made things worse. But as it turns out, this in the long term encourages more people and witnesses to step up and talk about stories about the White Tiger's heroic actions, thus influencing the jury to set Hector free. Sorry, that's a Troy reference. Hector! The prosecutor rightly points out this sort of thing should have been left up to the police in the first place, and despite all these good deeds, Hector is still guilty of pushing a man in front of a train, and elaborates on the pains of being pushed in front of a speeding train to the jury to emphasize his point, and it's a fair point to make. You'd think that the jury would have defended the prosecutor, but they decide to defend Matthew Murdock's case, so Hector is set free. But Wilson Fisk doesn't like the idea of vigilantes roaming about the place, so speculatively he's in league with someone who later on kills the White Tiger in action, who is implied to be the Punisher? Now, a lot of these details are still left up to interpretation for now, because there is a lot of mystery as these kinds of TV shows go. We're not going to know the full picture until the full picture is either explained to us, or if they want to leave some ambiguity, they explain enough for us to get the idea. There are still some details that are left a bit iffy. We still don't know if Matthew Murdock deliberately murdered those two people in the previous episode, or if it was a case of manslaughter in self-defense. But at the very least, the episode does hint at Matthew Murdock hiding his action-packed moment there when he's washing up his injured knuckles, which Wilson Fisk also still bears, mind you. It was a pretty interesting court episode. It leaves you engaged. However, this episode has one major flaw that my friend Squid Bear pointed out as we were watching the episode together. And that's the line of "objection sustained." And then Matthew Murdock keeps on talking. Now, from what I understand of the rules of courts of law, when a lawyer is talking and then someone says objection and then the judge says sustained, that lawyer who was talking is no longer permitted to keep on talking at that point. And yet, Matthew Murdock keeps on talking despite the fact that the judge said sustained.
Wait a minute!
Now, is there something about the courts of law that I'm overlooking? Or is there something about the courts of law that the show is overlooking? It seems to me that the writers were getting a bit sloppy there, but they've otherwise made an engaging story. And overall, from these past 3 episodes that we've seen so far, the show is fine. It's not masterful, but it's not awful. It's still tolerable enough to warrant an engagement to keep on watching. I don't think there's more I can say until much more of the episodes later. The words are not working from mouth. What did you all think of episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again? Let me know in the comments down below. We'll have a conversation, and I'll continue to keep an eye on the show for you. And stay tuned on this channel for more content. In the meantime, ScotsThinker signing out.